What's up, everyone? I am Wink, and this is Scream Cheese. Today, we are going to be talking about I Saw the TV Glow, written and directed by Jane Schoenbrunn, and starring Justice Smith, Bridget Lundy Payne, and Ian Foreman. Two teenagers bond over their love of a supernatural TV show, but it is mysteriously canceled. So I remember when I saw the trailer for this film, it didn't exactly grab me that much. I wasn't like super stoked about it. But then when the film came out, people started talking about how this one was super special, how it was one of the best horror movies of the year, and I suddenly was getting more excited about it. I will say I didn't know until after the fact that this film was by the same director who did We're All Going to the World's Fair. That actually is a fact that might have tempered my expectations. I caught that movie on HBO Max, not knowing anything about it, maybe a year or two ago, and I didn't finish the movie. I feel like I probably should go back to that film, but I feel like I did go into this one feeling pretty reserved on my expectations. When it comes down, this film is kind of beautiful. Really, I'm saying in its look and in the confidence that the main actors bring to their characters. It's shot with all of these beautiful colors. The lighting is like always super interesting, and the main characters always have this kind of internal interestingness about them. They feel ordinary, but they feel conflicted, and I can tell that the actors themselves really fleshed out their characters. I'm not like the biggest fan of Justice Smith for whatever reason, but I found his performance in this to be really thought out. I can tell that he developed a walk for his character. I can tell that he developed kind of a speaking voice for the character. I just could tell that the actors really did their homework on who they were, whether they kind of knew themselves or not. But I will say that the written material just felt very empty to me. This is a tough one because I can understand why people would love this movie. There were moments that I was falling in love with the movie, but then the material just didn't push. It didn't say enough for me. This film is one that can definitely be interpreted. So because of that, people's interpretations could probably lead them to having a better or worse time. And for me, I felt like this movie didn't give me enough to interpret to really enjoy it. If I'm being honest, I didn't really understand it. And I think that there are a lot of people that won't understand it. And I think there are a lot of people that will get a lot of value out of a story like this. But in the end, it just wasn't literal enough for me. I needed just like 10% more in story. Like, there's one thing leading your audience around like they're children. Then on the other end of the spectrum is this movie where I feel like it's leaving us floating around without telling us enough. Like, it alludes to things in the plot, but it's not really like, yeah, this is definitely what's happening. It's leaving a lot of things open for you to decide. I think. I don't even know. But in the end, for me, it wasn't satisfying. I did find Bridget Lundy Payne's performance probably the strongest. I feel like she did a good job of making distinctive changes in her character as we kind of time jump and she gets a little bit older. Justice Smith feels like kind of the same character all throughout. And it is a character, it's well built, but I would say I saw through his kind of bag of tricks in a way that was kind of bothersome to me. He had a habit of like kind of telegraphing inner turmoil by showing almost like physical pain. I found that to be kind of annoying because I didn't see anything in the plot that was really justifying that turmoil. Though there were times where it was justified and it did work. While I didn't hate his performance, I did feel like it wasn't the best. For an actor who I haven't really been impressed by, this wasn't gonna push me over the edge. In terms of like the surrealness, there is some like kind of horror in it, but it's not scary. It's not even necessarily a horror movie per se. It definitely, like, in a tiny way fits into the horror genre. I wouldn't fight anybody who says this is a horror movie, but this is not going to satisfy, for me anyway, and viewers like me, kind of the horror appetite. And I think it could have. I think there could have been more gore, the few things that it did kind of get horrifically, it could have leaned into, and it all would have been in the writing. I think where I was the least satisfied is in the writing. You have kind of this beautiful piece that's really designed really well, and it seems that the director has an interesting vision, and the actors have an interesting interpretation of what their characters should be, and they're building this whole thing with like bare bones source material that just is not literal enough to tell us the story that I guess I wanted to hear. So in any case, I would give this movie a 6. I would understand if people would rate it way higher. If your tastes tend to follow mine, this is one that you're not going to enjoy very much. I would never tell anyone not to see this movie though, because I can tell this is one that different people are going to connect to differently. And I would say it is well made enough that you should see if this is a story that you connect to. This is very much a character piece, and you might find a lot of value in this one where I found very little. But I think that there is something there for people. Even for me, like the nostalgia of like the 90s didn't play greatly. It was like almost there, but it just didn't really do it for me. In any case, I didn't hate my time with it, but in the end, it wasn't very satisfying. Let me know what you thought. Did you love this movie? Did you understand it better than I did? Also, let me know of any other horror movies I need to check out in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time. Peace out, cheesers.